No, we are recording this session. So let's go ahead and get started. Do we have Sarah Dorman,
I'm here.
Stephanie Birdwell,
Present.
Keith Becker,
Present.
Jeremy Musgrove,
Present.
Rachel Simakanda? Okay, so we are missing Rachel, but we do have a quorum. We now have committee members, Jimmy Martinez and Monica Attridge are no longer with us. So Alan, since our chair has not been announced, how do we move forward with the meeting?
You can go ahead and go through the agenda,
Okay,
and then we can, Rachel is the vice chair, and I'll reach out to her if she doesn't join. She'll take over chair responsibilities in the absence of James.
Okay.
And we'll just get that clarified. And then for the people that are reapplying and new applicants for the commission, we'll put that on the agenda to see if Rachel wants to take it as a full-time position or elect a new chair.
Sounds good. Okay, I will just start going through the agenda. Just to remind everybody, recommended protocol for members and other participants. All commissions should have their microphones on mute to keep the background noise out of the chat room. The chair of the meeting should, minus that person today, should ensure everyone has the opportunity to speak if they would like. And commissioners should use the chat function to inform the chair that they would like to make a statement. And the chair will announce the commissioners to speak in the order that they appear. Since that is not happening today because we don't have Rachel, I will be the person to, you guys can raise your hand or speak directly to me if you have a comment moving forward, or if you want to share something in the chat, I will make sure that it gets out to the rest of the commissioners. And moving right along, do we have any public participation today? Any public participation?
I don't see any, Lisa.
Okay, and so then we're going to start with staff participation, going down to our information items. I don't have anything to share today regarding our city council from last week just yet. I am working on a couple of things. Hopefully, we'll be able to report that in the month of April. I see we have Mitchell Redding here. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, Mitchell, you're up next.
This is Estella. I'll actually step in for Mitch this time around, but then Mitch will be the liaison, the transportation liaison going forward.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you, Estella.
Yeah, so hi everyone, Estella Hollander, mobility planner for Mountain Line. And yeah, first item was to introduce Mitch. So yeah, Mitch Reddy is our associate transit planner, and he again will be kind of taking over the liaison role moving forward. But a couple of updates. So Mountain Line launched or had our reveal of the electric bus last week, which was really exciting. So we do have our first electric bus, which hopefully should be on the streets sometime in April. And then another update is we do have, so Mountain Line received a grant, and we've been in coordination with the city for some bike and pedestrian improvements near transit. So we're working on getting a design firm on board so where we can kind of start that design process with the city, again, kind of filling in some sidewalks near bus stops as well as some bike lanes as well. And then next update is our coordinated plan. So this is something that I know I've provided an update in the past that our coordinated mobility council works on. And this is updated every year and basically identifies strategies and gaps for older adults and people with disabilities regarding transportation challenges. So this group has been working on updating that, and it'll go to our board in April seeking approval. So, and this plan includes a few items like with snow removal that this group has been talking about, as well as like safer railroad crossings, especially for people in mobility devices, better pedestrian and bicycle connections to transit. So whole host of different ideas, but I think it definitely aligns well with the various topics that this group has been chatting about and discussing. And then lastly, kind of a subcomponent of this coordinated mobility council is we're putting together a bit of a subcommittee to talk about wheelchair accessible vehicles in Flagstaff right now. There's really a lack in terms of, taxis and Ubers and Lyfts. So if you do have a wheelchair, there's really no options. So there's a subcommittee group that's really going to focus on this topic to try and brainstorm some solutions, hopefully bring some new ideas. And so first, this group, we're starting with kind of a needs assessment to identify kind of what is the potential need for, wheelchair accessible vehicles. Because I think hopefully once we get some data and some information, we can kind of share that maybe with taxi companies or potential other partners. So if anyone is interested in joining that subcommittee, we just had our first meeting. So it's a newer group. So if this is a topic of interest, I can drop my email in the chat, but can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Mitch as well. And we can get you to join the committee. So that is it for me. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. Do we have any questions for Michelle?
Or Estella.
Estella, I'm sorry. I was
Okay.
looking directly at your name and then calling Michelle. I apologize for
No
that.
worries.
Estella. Any questions for Estella? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat, but Estella has put her email address in the chat for those of you that are interested in joining that committee or have any questions pertaining to any of the information that she went over. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Russell Randall, our youth liaison.
Hello, everyone. I am Russ Randall, and I am the youth liaison. I'm also representing the Northern Arizona Community of Practice Transition Team. And what the Community of Practice Transition and the Community of Practice Transition Team works to improve services and provide services for youth and young adults who have disabilities, and hence the youth liaison. But our recent meeting, the Community of Practice Transition Team actually had a discussion about how to grow our team itself. And every year is a little bit different with regards to who are active members on the team, but we would like to grow our membership. And presently, we don't have any representation of our Flagstaff charter schools on our team, and hence that's one area where we're reaching out to grow. We also would like to have more family involvement, and we're working through, I think, Raising Special Kids to see if we can get a little bit more family involvement with regards to our team. And then we're also specifically looking to grow our team with regards to folks who actually provide mental health care, because that's an area that we don't have represented on our team right now. But that's the primary work that our transition team has been doing very recently. And of course, we actually have a meeting today, this afternoon, at which we'll kind of cover some of those issues and some other topics as well. But that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. Do we have any questions for Russ? Okay, we do, from Sarah Dorman. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hey Russ, how are you?
Good.
I am the mom of a 14-year-old autistic child, and I just wanted to let you know, as far as Raising Special Kids goes, I've actually talked with the director. They don't have a really strong representation in Flagstaff, but as far as the family, I am a parent volunteer with them as well. So I know that's just a struggle. Like, I know you want to get more parent involvement, but I can also ask around to people that I know, or depending on the involvement commitment, maybe some other parents that I know might be able to be involved. Or are you looking for something more in like an organizational level?
No, actually, organizational level would be great. But if we, and we would just love to have more family involvement, including parents. So yeah, Sarah, I appreciate you reaching out. And I guess I can put my number in the chat. Is that right, Lisa? I can do that? I think that's okay, right? I'll put
Yeah,
my
your email address would be okay.
Okay, I'll put my email in the chat, and then Sarah, yeah, just reach out and we'll connect, and we'll see if we can get some parents to be involved. Um, and we always have a youth member. Presently, we have a youth member he's not really so youth anymore, but he's in his late teens or early 20s. But this year we haven't had any parent involvement, so that would be great to do as well. So thank you, Sarah, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just know it's a bit of a struggle, and a big part of what I want to do up here as well is, I mentioned last time, is we just started a support group for parents with kids that are caregivers or parents of kids with disabilities. So there's a decent amount of connections there, but it's really loose and sporadic up here. So I didn't know if, I'm sure you're involved in all of that, but just as a parent, I know it's tough on my end.
I gotcha. Well, thanks, old Sarah. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Russell. And Michelle Eisenberg, I am so sorry. I skipped over you when I directed your name with Stella's name, but if you are ready to present, we are ready to hear from you.
Actually, it's okay. Me and Russ are co-liaisons, and I'm actually the chair for the Northern Arizona Community Practice. And so Russ and I are kind of co-chairing, so he pretty much gave the updates that I would give. So
Sounds great. Thank you again. I apologize for skipping over you there. Next up, we will have the approval of minutes for February 28, 2023. And if you all have had the opportunity to overlook those minutes, we'll give you another opportunity to do so. And if you see any questions or corrections, please let me know. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to review those minutes, and then we will motion forward. I see a hand up from Rachel. Go ahead.
Hi, Lisa.
And
It's
yes,
just
ma'am.
kind of a small, kind of an administrative thing, but my last name is no longer Garner. I go by Simiconda now, and I don't know if it's going to cause some confusion because I'm seeing some minutes with Garner and some with Simiconda.
Oh, okay, great. We will make sure that we get that taken care of. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And Jeremy.
And yeah, similar for me, I just noticed a spelling error on my last name. I'm happy to type that in the chat and clarify that if needed.
Okay. Yes, you can do so to make sure that we get that transcribed and get that misspelling taken care of.
Okay.
Any other issues or comments for February's minutes? Okay, if everyone has had the opportunity to review it, for all of those who want to proceed with February's minutes, say aye.
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 Fabulous. Fabulous. So we'll proceed with February's minutes with the slight amendments that were given. And the approval of minutes of February will move forward. Next up, we have the date of our next meeting, and Alan will speak on that.
So our scheduled date is April 25th at our regular time, and I want to open it up. I have a request from the mayor. If we could have a discussion to move this meeting date to Wednesdays at 12 p.m. And the reason for that is a lot of the city business happens on Monday and Tuesday with executive meetings coming into the city council meeting, which starts at 3 p.m. So there's a push for time, and I'd like to open that up for discussion to see if that would be amendable to the commission members.
I see a hand up
This-
from Russ Randall.
Stays.
Yes, and I am not a commissioner. I have applied or reapplied, I guess, to be a commissioner, but my question would be, in the past, this commission has usually had a member of the city council who actually attended our meetings. Do we have a member of this
We
in
have
this term?
Russ, we have Mayor Daggett attending this commission on a regular basis. This is her commission to participate in.
Most excellent, and we're glad to have you, Mayor Daggett. And
I'm so glad to be here, and I want to be an active participant, which is why I've asked whether we can switch the date, because Tuesdays are just bad.
and hence my question. But thank you, Mayor.
Okay. And Jeremy, Stephanie, and Sarah said that Wednesday would work with them.
Okay, any other further comments?
Yeah, it works for me too. This is Keith.
Okay, Keith, excellent. So you have
And welcome, Mayor Daggett.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
okay. So what I'll do is I will change this meeting date to April 26th. I will send out new meeting invitations to all the commissioners and all the participants, liaisons, and I will do that at some point by close of business day today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. So up next, we have our action items, and there's nothing listed under our action items today. So we'll move on to our reports and discussions. And we have Flagstaff PD to participate in a discussion on ADA compliance. So Chief Musselman, whenever you're ready. Oh, I see a hand up with, I'm sorry, Chief, just 1 second here. I just noticed that Rachel had her hand up. Rachel, did you have a comment?
I do. I was just wondering if Russ's concern about putting this to a vote needs to take place.
That is a good question. Alan, would you
Yeah,
be able
yes,
to answer to that?
Yes, as a matter of fact. And Rachel, since you're the chair, you can make a motion for a vote and then ask for a second.
I will make a motion to vote for changing our meetings from Tuesdays at noon to Wednesdays at noon on a monthly basis.
Hold on just a second. This is Russ. Was that as listed as an action item on this agenda?
It was
I
listed
did
as
not
an
have
item
that as an action item.
as a discussion on the date of the next meeting, Russell.
If it's not an action item, I don't believe we can actually act upon it. So I think as a discussion item, we can choose to change the next meeting, because we've done that as a discussion item before. But I think to actually change the date of all future meetings, that would probably take an action item, which could probably be addressed at the next meeting.
Thank you, Russell. We'll do that. We'll change the date of the next meeting as a discussion item and then move it forward for a vote on next month's meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, and
Just
so
to-
Chief, go ahead.
Sorry, Lisa, just to clarify, our next meeting will be Wednesday, April 26th, at which time we will have an action item to vote to permanently change it to Wednesdays at noon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, Chief Musselman, you are up next, and if you are ready to speak, we can move forward.
I am here and I'm ready to speak. I just don't really know what the questions are. So I don't know if you're looking for an overview from me of our policies, or if you had questions about training or dispatch or what. So coming into it a little bit blind, but I will do my best to answer whatever questions anyone has.
Okay, sounds good. We'll start with that. And Rachel is holding her hand up. So Rachel, you have a question for Mr. Musselman regarding ADA compliance?
Hi and welcome, Chief Musselman. My name is Rachel Simiconda. I am Vice Chairwoman and also a Commissioner. I am actually the one that brought this item up because of some interactions that I personally have had with at least one of your police officers. There have been other commissioners that have brought it to the attention of the commission regarding action or inaction of police officers regarding enforcement of ADA law. And so one of the things that we had discussed last month with Jamie, who is our outgoing chairperson, is that we would like to find out more about your training, what you do for training, continuing training, those sorts of things. And I think that that's where I will start.
Okay, well, let me see if I can speak to that. So we have several policies that relate to folks with disabilities, communications with persons with disabilities, crisis intervention, service animals, interpretation services, and modified duty assignments, which is more internal. And all of our policies are online on the city website. So if you have a question or concern, you can go there and look. As far as trainings, our officers get basic training in the police academy on traffic laws, parking. If it's an ADA parking issue, they spend 15 hours on traffic related laws. The problem is the book here is about 600 pages of just traffic laws. So I don't know that they're hitting every single one with as much zest as we may need. But once we get them back, our training coordinator in-house does seek to find and keep us properly trained. So if we discover an issue, whether it's through a complaint or we read a report and the officer's got it wrong, then we ask our training coordinator to reach out and identify a training that we can bring in. And trainings can take all different forms. Sometimes we do in-service training to the squads, and that's a 15-minute briefing to each squad before they hit the road. And we've invited other partner organizations to come in and do that training, whether it's victim witness services, Teros, Care First, mental health first aid, and do those. And then we log those. And we've done several of those over the years on service animals, medical considerations, helping people with personal assistive mobility devices, mental health first aid, autism awareness, fair and impartial policing, bias-based policing, autism spectrum disorders. And then also at the city, we have an online training platform. So we had a mother approach us that said, you know, I'd really like your officers to have a bit more training on autism. And so we were able to find a 2-hour block on autism that we were able to give out to the officers. So we're looking for those. You know, pulling every officer in and doing an 8-hour block is just pretty much impossible, just because, you know, I've got 2 graveyard shifts, 2 swing shifts, 2 day shifts, 2 overlaps, and I can't ever get everyone. If everyone comes to training, then nobody's on the road, and that doesn't fly. Then the mayor's phone rings off the hook, and I don't want to do that to her. So that's kind of how we seek training and do training. But we also have police aides now, and we have park flag that also do some of the enforcement on the parking. If it's an ADA parking issue, and I don't train the park flag people, our police aides get substantial less training, but every officer has the book and can look up the law and interpret it and make a decision there to do the right thing, what that should be. So I don't know if this is a case of an officer didn't do the right thing or the officer was just kind of lost, or if it was my officer, or if it was park flag, or if it was a police aide, or if it was a true officer. And if any of the commissioners have an idea for training or want to come in and do the squad in services, we can certainly set that up. So let me stop there. I see there's another couple hands up, and I'll take questions.
Okay, thank you, Chief Musselman. Keith Becker, you're up next.
Yes, welcome, Chief, and I'll call you Chief.
Sounds good.
You know, I've had a lot of issues, and my wife has had a lot of issues with blocked sidewalks. Vehicles parked on them, blocking them, trash, snow, bulk trash, trash cans. I mean, all kinds of things. What would the police department be involved with? I'm assuming probably just vehicles, because we do have House Bill 2395, which gives you folks the ability to cite for vehicles blocking sidewalks. And I want to know, what is the police policy on that? If a policeman is driving down the road, are they looking for those things? Would they stop and issue a citation or a warning or contact and have people move things? This is what I see is lacking, because and I'll tell you why I'm serious about this. My wife is legally blind, and she has to do the walk down these sidewalks. We have people in wheelchairs that have to use them. In my part of town, I live in Sunnyside, we've got a couple of people that are using mobility devices, scooter, wheelchair, those kinds of things. And I see sidewalks that are blocked all the time. I watched the woman with just a stroller and kids at a blocked sidewalk out in the street. I'm just wondering, and this is why I'm talking about training, is maybe we can help train the police to look for these things more, because they look for drunk drivers, they look for crazy drivers, that are weaving or doing, dangerous things. And I almost saw a little girl get hit on West Street a couple years back, and that just really started me going on a lot of this stuff. So I don't know what police policy is. I know I reported one place over 40 times, and finally one police officer, I believe it was a Mr. Wolf, actually did something about it. But all the other times they warned people and nobody resulted. So I'm kind of wanting to help you guys, because I don't like to present problems without solutions. And solutions may be just training the police officers to be more aware, when they're not, responding to a call and they're driving down a street, to be able to look for these kind of obstructions and maybe do something about it. And maybe the city can help with a pamphlet or something that they could hand out to people when they do ask them to move a vehicle. I know that's a lot, and you can answer whatever you can.
No, I thank you for the question. So for block sidewalks in general, from snow, trash cans, usually code enforcement takes care of that, because it falls into the non-emergency category. And it's not to say we won't, we can. It's just, I don't think my officers are looking for that, to be honest with you, Keith, if I'm being honest. I think most of our officers right now are just scrambling call to call. So they don't really have the ability to, I'm going to not go this domestic assault in progress so I can go knock on this person's door and say, hey, you need to move your car.
I certainly don't expect them to do that.
but we did. So when that law did do the update, we put out an updated training bulletin on that law, because the law before that was a little unclear. And I believe you're talking about the driveway depressions where the sidewalk goes into a depression where the driveway is and then goes back up to the regular sidewalk, and people are parking their cars in that driveway, blocking the sidewalk. I believe that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
I've also seen people parked right on the sidewalk, and half on the sidewalk and half on the bike lane, and all kinds of crazy things. And I have watched, and I'm not going to point fingers too much, but I have watched police officers drive right past those. Now maybe they're responding to something, so I'm not going to make any claims. But it just, there's just a lot of danger in this. And like I say, my wife has to walk in the street at times, and it just scares the beans out of me.
Yeah, and what I'll say, a couple things. So one, if you're calling multiple times and not seeing the result that you're looking for, please ask to speak to a supervisor or shoot me an email, and that way I'm aware of it and I can address it. I do like your idea of the educational pamphlet. We use those for people that are parking in violation of the snow removal ordinance. We use it for, you know, people that aren't locking their cars and you see their purse sitting on the front seat and it's just a crime of opportunity waiting. So we would gladly welcome pamphlets, and I can have my police aides put those out as they see those violations. That would be easy. It would be non-adversarial because we're just educating the public and we're letting them know, hey, you may not know it, but this is a law, you're in violation. And there are people who use this sidewalk who are differently abled. So I do like that. I don't know if that's something the commission can do, or if that's, I think I've shot my budget as far as printing and advertising, so I'm not sure I can, or if there's an online research that, or an online pamphlet that one of the commissioner knows about that can throw it in an attachment to an email to me.
Our next question, and that's something we can definitely look into, Chief Musselman. Our next question is from Rachel. But Rachel, before I open it up for you, I just want to say that Mayor Becky has put in the chat that block sidewalks are a big concern for her. And she said she'd be interested in efforts to help the community understand the safety concerns. And she's put in a link to our city website. Rachel, your question for Chief Musselman.
Chief Musselman, going back to the issue of having different entities come in and help train, I have been in contact with somebody at New Horizons. He is actually the person that owns New Horizons out of Prescott, and he is willing to work with Jamie Martinez, our ex-chairman, and I in helping, if you would like to, in helping us come in. Both of us are wheelchair bound. Dave Schmidt has his own other things that he deals with, but it's something that we are willing to come in, if you would like to, that we would like to come in and do some possible training. In particular, and I'm just going to keep it really short because this is more personal and possibly something that I can speak with you further about outside of the commission. But I had one of your officers, I'm in a wheelchair full-time, I'm an amputee. I had one of your officers refused to cite a woman who had parked on a cutaway in a parking lot. A cutaway is the depression that you've spoken about. That refused to cite a woman who had parked on a cutaway. And when I told him the ADA law says that she parked there illegally, he said, it's up to my discretion and I'm not doing it. But look, you've made her cry. And I said, well, what about me sitting in my car for 5 minutes crying because I needed to get into this pharmacy and I couldn't get in because she was parked there? So I think that there is possibly a lot of misinformation being given, but there also needs to be some clarification of some information that's missing. And so if respectfully the mayor and you would like, Jamie and Martinez and I have both said that we would work with Dave Schmidt to come in and talk about those things. And Dave Schmidt is very, very versed in ADA law. We have a gentleman out of Lake Havasu I'm also speaking with, who is an ADA lawyer who is also willing to join our team. And so if that's something that you'd be interested in, it's something that possibly you and I can meet and work out together.
Yeah, let's chat offline, and I think the message will be better received coming from someone who's differently abled versus myself. They hear from me every day and say, oh, Chief's just on another kick. And, you know, this week it's about snow removal, and last week it was about barking dogs and whatnot. So if you're willing to do that, we can definitely coordinate that. I don't know that we need a big team of folks. Usually it's one person speaking passionately that's, you know, educate about the law and whatnot. I think that works just fine. It is kind of a challenge to get before all squads though, because like the graveyard squad, they come in at 10 o'clock at night. So we'd ask you to come in at 10 o'clock at night in order to talk to them. The two graveyard squads, you know, the day shifts, one starts at 6 a.m., the other's at 7, and then the others are midday. So that ends up being a challenge for folks, but I can definitely put you in contact with my training coordinator and we can get you scheduled in. So yeah, please reach out to me. I'll throw
The
my
whole,
email in the chat for you.
okay. The whole shift thing is something that we had talked about, and it's definitely something that we all feel passionately enough about that we're each willing to take on one or two of those if that's what you'd like. And I know that Keith is also interested. So a number of us commissioners, as well as other outside sources, are extremely invested in this. We want to see, we are the disabled users, and we want to see Flagstaff functioning better for those of us who are differently abled. So I saw that you posted your email. I will get some information together and then we'll see how we proceed from there.
Sounds great. Thank you, Rachel.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. And I also want to mention that Stephanie Burwell is requesting that if we do get that training moving forward with your contacts, Rachel, that it's recorded. And I'm assuming that we would be able to share that training with the commissioners moving forward once it's recorded. So that was Stephanie's request. Also, go ahead.
What I'll do is get with either you or Keith, or I'm sorry, Alan, and I'll figure out how to get all that done. And then when we start setting dates with that training person, then we'll make sure that we have all that done so it's done properly.
You
Sounds
know,
great.
there might be a more efficient, effective way though, and I'll look to Alan. If we could record that and then put it on the NeoGov platform so that we have it for everyone. Because part of my issue is I've got 70 officers that work the streets of Flagstaff, and every year I lose about 25. So I'm having to retrain every year or every other year. And if we get it on that NeoGov platform, I'm sure Rachel's a dynamic speaker, but she probably doesn't want to come in and see some of the same ugly faces every year. But if we get on that NeoGov platform, even if it's 30 minutes, we can make all of our new officers go through that training, and that might be a more effective way to do it. But I don't know if
Great idea, which is what I was actually getting ready to state.
sorry.
So no, you're right on par. You know, I'm a champion of our learning management system. So that's exactly what I was getting ready to suggest. Rachel, you have your hand up still?
I do, let me take it down, sorry.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions or comments for Chief Musselman? Okay, I see that Russell has put in the chat, Martin, I spoke with CIL last month, identified 4 primary sidewalk concerns: blockage, winter snow removal, maintenance, and closures. I don't know if Martin will be joining the CILA meeting on 4/26, but we can definitely ask. Russ, we can definitely ask.
Thank you for that, Lisa. I kind of feel like that's for us. There's some unfinished business with regards to that discussion. So I'm not a commissioner, but I would love to see Martin attend to kind of continue that discussion.
Sorry, my mute button keeps misdirecting. We can definitely make that request from Martin and see if we can get him on the next agenda meeting. Are there any other questions or comments for Mr. Musselman? And I keep going back between Chief and Mr. Musselman. I apologize.
It's okay. I've been called all kinds of things, so you guys have been very gracious. So thank you.
I don't see anything in the chat. Thank you for your time today, Chief Musselman. We really appreciate it. As I said in my email to you, this was a discussion that we were readily wanting to have with this committee, and I think you answered quite a few of our questions today. And moving forward, we will address the opportunity for the training through email.
And then on the handout pamphlets, is that something the commission wants to take on? Or if somebody finds something that would work, pretty simple, if they can email that to me, I can make that happen. It looks like Rachel raised her hand, so maybe she's gonna be my go-to.
Thank
Go
you for
ahead, Rachel.
reminding me. I have spoken with both Dave and I apologize, I don't have my notes in front of me, but the ADA attorney out of Lake Havasu, and they are either in the process or just finishing up something that I will submit to you for review.
Thank you. That will be great. So I'll be looking for that. And on any of those calls, Rachel, if you ever have a less than professional interaction with one of my folks, please get a hold of me sooner than later so we can address it and get it right. That we hire humans make mistakes, and right now I'm hiring a whole lot of young people, and we're trying to get them trained up, but we recognize that takes time, and we try to do that. So thank you all. Have a good rest of your meeting. Appreciate you all and what you do.
Thank you. That is all that we have today under our reports and discussion items. We have already said that we would discuss the agenda. Oh, we haven't actually. Someone has their hand up. Go ahead, Rachel.
It's me again. I'm sorry. I would like to know if anybody, i.e. Russ, would be interested in kind of helping me organize this and how to do it the correct way so I'm not stepping on toes, that sort of thing. I'm kind of a layperson to all of this, but I have an extreme passion for ADA. And so someone, maybe Russ, would be, if you would be willing to work with us on getting this started, I would most certainly appreciate the help.
Yeah, absolutely, Rachel. And you have my email. I put it in the chat. So send me an email, okay?
I definitely will. Thank you.
And so, Alan, are we doing well on bylaws with Russ helping Rachel on this project?
Absolutely.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so moving right along to 11, we want to talk about agenda for next meeting. So for our next meeting on April 26th, if you all know someone that would like to do a presentation in the meeting, as I discussed before, we will send an email out to Martin Ice to see if he can come to our next meeting. And if you have any ideas for upcoming meetings, if you could go ahead and email Alan or myself, and we will make sure that we get those on the agenda moving forward. Are there any other questions or comments? Russ, go ahead.
I have a lot of questions today. Thanks, Lisa. In the past, and really even the way our whole youth liaison and representative of the community practice team and our transportation / NAPTA liaison, the way that all came about is that we felt like, and really came about when the city council decided to reduce the size of at least some of the city commissions from 9 to 7. And we felt like it was kind of difficult for 7 people to represent all the disabled folks across the city of Flagstaff. So that was kind of a way to build in a compromise there, I guess, with regards to representation. But in the past, this commission has also had a liaison who came and talked to us about accessible parking. And I don't see that liaison involved at the present. So I guess I'm asking Alan and Lisa, do you know if we still have a liaison that's kind of representing accessible parking?
So we'll put that as a discussion item, Russ,
Okay.
and we can certainly look into it from there. Okay.
That would be good, Alan. And Alan, were you with us when we had that liaison?
It dropped off right before I came on board.
Gotcha. Because I remember Denise kind of helped us get that going. But Anyhow, as we talk about, sidewalk obstruction and enforcement of ADA stuff, I think that kind of just made me recollect that we used to have a person who was very involved with that for us. So.
Thanks, Russell. We'll put that as a discussion item and move forward from that point.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I see that Keith Becker has his hand up. Mr. Becker?
Yes, I agree with Russ, and I'd certainly like to see that get on our agenda and maybe get into a permanent, if we can find somebody as a liaison kind of thing, a report and maybe brief discussion on those things, because yes, accessible parking is really difficult, especially downtown. So yeah, it's something we should definitely look at also.
It'll be on the next agenda for discussion and we'll move it from there. Absolutely.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. All right. If there is nothing further, we will go ahead and adjourn for today at 12:48 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.